it's finally time for another Depeche Mode video. Earlier this year, I put out my ranking of all 15 Depeche Mode albums. Then I followed that up with my favorite 15 B-sides. Well, today I am back to go through their remixes, which isn't a topic I've seen anyone cover on YouTube. So stick around, because today we're gonna discuss couriering a cassette of Preacher samples, repurposing a leftover New Order bass line, and DM sampling themselves over and over. Today, we're counting down my 15 favorite Depeche Mode remixes. Depeche Mode's long-standing relationship with remixes is one of the most defining aspects of their legacy, helping to bridge the gap between underground club culture and mainstream success. From the early 1980s, the band embraced the remix not merely as a promotional tool, but as an artistic extension of their music. Songs like Everything Counts and People Are People were reimagined by in-house producers and outside collaborators into extended 12-inch versions that thrived in clubs and gave fans alternate emotional landscapes to explore. As the synth-pop pioneers evolved, so too did their approach to remixes, leaning into darker industrial textures during the Violator and Songs of Faith and Devotion eras, when producers such as William Orbit and Johnny Dollar helped transform already potent tracks into massive atmospheric club anthems. The band's openness to reinterpretation attracted some of the most innovative producers of their time. Throughout the 1990s and 2000s, Depeche Mode tracks were remixed by techno, house, and electronica luminaries such as Underworld, Danny Tegnalia, Air, and Goldfrapp, each putting their stamp on the band's rich sonic palette. This remix culture didn't just keep Depeche Mode relevant across decades of changing musical trends, it cemented them as icons within dance and electronic music circles. Even today, remix compilations like Remixes 81-04 and Remixes 2, 81-11 serve not just as retrospectives, but as celebrations of how flexible, durable, and influential Depeche Mode's music continues to be when reshaped by other creative minds. I've met some fans that like to scoff at remixes, insisting that they only enjoy Depeche Mode in their pure original form, but I've seen those same diehards lose all composure the second a truly classic extended mix drops. Suddenly it's all arms in the air, hips in full swing, and any snobbery conveniently forgotten. Turns out, nothing persuades a remix skeptic faster than a dance floor and a thumping bass line. All right, here's my list. At number 15, Heaven, Owly Mix. Kicking things off is a remix by French singer, songwriter, and electronic producer Owly that, in my opinion, absolutely blows the original out of the water. She transforms the plodding lead single from Delta Machine into a vibrant slice of synthwave, brighter, punchier, and far more danceable. This remix features crisp production, a driving bass line, and some fantastic female vocal flourishes that elevate the track and instantly call to mind those Delta Machine demos that hinted at a far more upbeat direction. Honestly, if Depeche Mode had brought Owly on board from the start and released this version as the single, Delta Machine could have been a very different era. This is my original 12-inch single of Heaven, featuring the Owly remix. At number 14, Ghost, Le Weekend Mix. And speaking of synths and pure upbeat energy, how could you possibly deny this one? Producers Jay Smith and Saint Laurent take the criminally underrated track Left off Sounds of the Universe and polish it into a 5-star club diamond. It kicks off strong, but right around the 2:30 mark, this mix sets its sights on the stars and never looks back. The first build is pure euphoria, and when that stutter effect hits, buckle up. It's heavy, it's relentless, and whether you're on a packed dance floor or just trying to reinvigorate your treadmill workout, this one moves. Featured on the Remixes 2, 81 to 11. Fourth disc. At number 13, Photographic, Rex the Dog dub mix. This remix tastefully updates the original's proto-synthwave futurism with an amped up remix section and some truly powerful drops. The minimal use of vocals actually works in its favor, letting the instrumentation shine and the energy build without distraction. I remember being genuinely excited to discover a Rex the Dog full vocal mix, an iTunes exclusive at the time, only to be let down when it couldn't match the dub version's frantic, pulse-pounding momentum. More DJs should seriously dig this one out. It's tailor-made to tear up a dance floor, especially when blended with some slick synthwave or even Transx's Living on Video, a true Canadian classic. Featured on the Remixes 81 to 04, side K. And number 12, Something to Do, Black Strobe remix. Here's another brilliant lesson in minimalism, this time from Black Strobe, the French electronic outfit helmed by Arnaud Rebattini, known for fusing electroclash, EBM, and industrial techno into something dark, dirty, and irresistible. I love how stripped back yet purposeful this remix is, each element hitting with sharp intent. The original Something to Do was already twitchy and tense, but Black Strobe takes that nervous energy and cranks it into overdrive. The result feels like being chased through a Berlin warehouse at 3 a.m., all grit and shadows and pounding menace. It's got the raw club edge of Front 242 colliding with Nitzerev on a caffeine bender, or maybe even Geseffelstein at his most unhinged. Released in 2004 as an extra around the Remixes 81-04 campaign, not to be confused with the Black Strobe alternate mix, this version makes brilliant use of the stereo field, weaving in again just a few strategically placed vocal fragments. The result is a modernized, techno-forward rework that doesn't smooth out the original's rawness, but sharpens it into a full-on dance floor weapon. This is one of the Remixes 04 12 inches, featuring the Black Strobe mix. And here's a promo DJ version. At number 11, Strange Love, Hijack mix. This one's a stone cold dance floor classic. The Strange Love Hijack mix was crafted by UK electronic heavyweights Tim Simonon and Mark Saunders, two of the most influential producers and remixers of the late 80s scene. Saunders had already made a name for himself engineering and remixing for acts like Erasure and The Cure, while Simonon, best known as the force behind Bomb the Bass, would go on to produce Depeche Mode's Ultra in 1997. This mix brims with inventive touches, drum samples lifted from Cameo's Word Up, a delightfully stuttered and gated choir effect, and a choice Martin Gore line, "It's important," plucked from the original session outtakes. Then, at 1:47, things all of a sudden take a surreal left turn with the surprise People Are People sample cleverly segueing into the remix's main melodic hook. The result is a rare, funk-infused reimagining that trades the original's icy, sensual restraint for something far sweatier and more kinetic.
I'll say it again, pain.
Original Special Edition 12-inch. This one's on Sire. At number 10, A Pain That I'm Used To, Jacques Leconte mix. Can't even count how many kilometers I've logged to this one. A Pain That I'm Used To Jacques LeConte remix is a pulse-pounding, synth-fueled reinvention that swaps out the original's brooding angst for pure electro-euphoria. Remixed by none other than Jacques LeConte, aka Stuart Price, the British producer-DJ behind some of the sleekest, most forward-thinking pop of the 2000s, including work by Madonna, The Killers, New Order, and the Pet Shop Boys. This isn't just a remix, it's practically a whole new track. High energy peaks and drops, shimmering synth washes, vocoder flourishes, and an absolutely relentless bass groove make this a standout. The band clearly agreed. They liked Price's version so much, they folded parts of it into their live performances of the song across multiple tours. I vaguely recall an interview where Price mentioned salvaging an unused bass line from New Order's Waiting for the Sirens call sessions for this remix. So, is that Peter Hook playing on there? I couldn't find a solid confirmation on DM Live Wiki, but if you've got a source, drop it in the comments. Original Pain That I'm Used To 12-inch. And number 9, Useless, Kruder and Dorfmeister session. Continuing with one of the most beloved and critically acclaimed remixes in Depeche Mode's catalog, the legendary Kruder and Dorfmeister rework of Useless. The Austrian down-tempo duo rose to prominence in the 90s with their lush, genre-defying remix compilations, often branded as sessions to reflect their live, dove-infused improvisational vibe. Their take on Useless is a masterclass in atmosphere and restraint. Stripping the track down to its skeletal frame, K&D drastically slow the tempo, crafting a deep, languid groove that reshapes the song into a smoky, slow-burning dub noir soundscape. It feels like driving through a city at 3 in the morning, in the rain, or sitting in a dimly lit Viennese cafe. Introspective, melancholic, and dripping with understated European cool. And bonus points for including that sly nod to Policy of Truth. The iconic slide guitar sample is perfectly woven into the mix. Useless K&D session is a full-blown reinterpretation, a velvet-draped trip-hop journey that distills Depeche Mode to their emotional core and reshapes them into something brooding, beautiful, and timeless. Original 12-inch. And a DJ promo with a really cool sleeve. And number 8, Never Let Me Down Again, Aggro mix. Here's the first of the Alan Wilder mixes to make the list. Was that a spoiler? This official Depeche Mode remix was crafted by Alan himself with programming and production support from Dave Bascombe. It strips away some of the original's cinematic sweep and replaces it with muscular, machine-driven punch, sharper, louder, and tailor-made for a big room industrial dance floor. The title Aggro perfectly captures both the remix's aggressive industrial edge and the raw energy it injected into live shows. This version was often used as a powerful bridge during Never Let Me Down Again performances from the late 80s right up through recent tours. Even the most die-hard remix skeptics can't deny the euphoric surge this section added, especially in iconic renditions like the legendary Rose Bowl show. Original German 12-inch. Orange. And number 7, In Your Room, the Jeep Rock mix. Not to be confused with the Zephyr mix, produced by Butch Vig and released as the single version. The Jeep Rock mix was crafted by producer Johnny Dollar, best known for co-writing Massive Attack's Unfinished Sympathy and remixing Portishead. Dollar's version deconstructs the original track and rebuilds it with driving drum loops, echoed guitar stabs and an absolutely killer overdriven arpeggio that I wish Depeche Mode had programmed into a live rendition. This remix was a staple on alternative club broadcasts back when I was a teenager, bringing that perfect mid-90s vibe. Think of it as in your room filtered through the murky, menacing atmospheres of Portishead's Dummy or Massive Attack's Protection, all dark, brooding, and irresistibly hypnotic. Original 12-inch, still got the shrink wrap. Yeah, I forgot, this one's still sealed, not gonna open it. Here's the reissue from the box set. Number 6, I've got Policy of Truth, Abstructure's Side of the Case mix. One of the very few fan-made or unofficial mixes I'd put on par with official remixes. And honestly, for me, it's the best Policy of Truth remix out there. I've said it before, I'm a sucker for mixes that weave in elements from other Depeche Mode tracks, and this one nails it by blending snippets of Enjoy the Silence and Crucified right in the intro. Pure perfection. The producer got a hold of the original stems and showed real respect for what made the track great, layering in incredible melodies and riffs that enhance rather than overshadow. There's a standout moment where percussion from Work Hard subtly blends in, creating an amazing texture. Then, seemingly out of nowhere around the 7-minute mark, Martin's isolated vocal appears, loudly declaring, "Never again is what you swore the time before." And it's pure chills. I've linked it below. Do yourself a favor and give it a listen. Depeche Mode Violations. It's a bootleg. It's got the Policy of Truth, Abstructure's Side of the Case mix. Nice center label. Number 5, I Feel You, Renegade Soundwave Afghan Surgery mix. I still vividly remember the first time I heard this version. It was playing during a segment on my local radio station where fans were sharing their experiences from the first leg of the devotional tour. Remixed by Renegade Soundwave, the cult UK electronic group renowned for blending dub, electro, industrial, and breakbeat into a gritty urban sound. This take completely transforms the original. Renegade Soundwave twists it into a fractured, chaotic soundscape filled with pulsing breakbeats, haunting echoes, and raw post-punk tension. If you're not familiar with this remix or you haven't spun it in a while, do yourself a favor and dive back in. It's an absolute must-listen for fans of Renegade Soundwave, Meat Beat Manifesto, or Adrian Sherwood's work. Original 12-inch, and it's a gatefold inner sleeve. And number 4, In Chains, Alan Wilder mix. You knew this was destined to make the list, right? How could I possibly leave out this gem from the architect behind some of Depeche Mode's most sonically rich and emotionally charged work from the 80s and the 90s? Released in 2011 as part of the Remixes 2 81 to 11 compilation, this remix marked a highly anticipated reunion of sorts. Alan Wilder's first official Depeche Mode remix since leaving the band in 1995. His take on Sounds of the Universe opener, In Chains, transforms the track into something deeper, more orchestral, and profoundly spiritual. Alan took what I always felt was a well-written song craving a stronger arrangement and reimagined it with the grungy rock bombast of Songs of Faith and Devotion alongside an epic cinematic sweep. Responding to a post in a forum on Facebook in 2020, Alan shared some fascinating behind-the-scenes details. The remix was put together in a friend's home in the Languedoc region of France. Britt and I had been due to holiday there for 2 weeks, but then the DM request came with short deadline, so I spent the entire period there working on the mix using my MacBook and portable self-powered speakers. I was indeed sent stems for several shortlisted tracks, and once I settled on In Chains, I decided to use elements from the other contenders in order to retain the modish quality with the new parts. I spent a further week mixing and finishing off back in my own studio after returning from France. I played the finished version to Martin when we met in the US during the Recoil tour, and he did say he loved it. I think he was genuine. I'm not sure what the others thought of it. While already a strong album opener, this remix deepens In Chains' emotional resonance, uncovering layers that were more subdued in the original mix, turning it into a truly unforgettable listening experience. Side J. Number 3, Personal Jesus, Pump Mix. Remixed by Francois Kevorkian, the legendary New York-based DJ, engineer, and pioneer of electro dub and dance floor alchemy. The Pump Mix takes Personal Jesus into bold new territory. Best known for his influential work on Violator, Kevorkian strips away the original's gritty, blues-soaked swagger and instead zeroes in on the extended electronic jam from the album version's outro, transforming it into a sprawling, hypnotic club mix. Dark bass pulses, hissing hi-hats, and pinging percussive textures swirl in and out of the mix, drenched in reverb and delay. Elements are soloed and muted, seemingly at random, giving it the feel of a live dub session. Violator engineer Pino Piscatola recalled watching in awe as Francois, quote, played the mixing desk like an instrument, instinctively sculpting the track in real time. And those now iconic Preacher samples? According to Piscatola, Francois came up with the idea on the spot and phoned a friend in LA to courier over a cassette. Meanwhile, the mixing desk sat untouched for hours, all settings frozen in place, waiting for the tape's arrival. End to end, the Pump Mix was completed in a single marathon 40-hour session. Just as the sleep-deprived Piscatola thought they were wrapping up, with a cab already waiting to take Francois to the airport, Kevorkian listened to the final playback and suddenly announced, "This is too short." He canceled his flight and stayed to add another 30 seconds. When the band later heard the final version, they felt it was, quote, maybe 30 seconds too long, but ultimately agreed to keep it, especially after Pino told them what it took to make it happen. This is the original special edition remix 12-inch of Personal Jesus. Lovely center label. And number 2, Get the Balance Right, Combination Mix. A true sleeper club classic and one of Depeche Mode's earliest and most effective extended mixes tailored specifically for the dance floor. Released in early 1983, the combination mix of Get the Balance Right is a Depeche Mode and Daniel Miller collaboration. Not an outside remix, but a deliberately crafted club version by the band themselves. Credited simply to Depeche Mode and Miller, it was produced alongside engineers Eric Radcliffe and John Fryer, using tape splicing, manual desk muting, and old-school studio wizardry. The result is a propulsive, hypnotic groove with a standout bass line. one of the most distinctive in the band's catalog. Though Martin Gore has admitted it's one of his least favorite Depeche songs, its legacy tells a different story. The track became a major influence on early Detroit techno, cited by none other than Derek May, and its impact on that scene was enormous. Its mechanical rhythms and melodic structure left an undeniable mark on the genre's formation. Fun fact, on the rare Japanese X1 and X2 box sets, the combination mix ends abruptly rather than fading out, and once you hear it that way, it's hard not to wish that version had been the standard. It gives the track a raw, cutting-edge energy that perfectly suits its early electronic ambition. The combination mix remains a unique gem in Depeche Mode's remix archive, an underrated classic that absolutely deserves more attention. Original German pressing. And my #1 Depeche Mode remix, Enjoy the Silence, Hands and Feet mix. My #1 pick is, in my opinion, the best remix of my all-time favorite Depeche Mode track. Originally released on the standard Enjoy the Silence 12-inch single, the Hands and Feet mix was another classic reimagining by François Kevorkian, the Kraftwerk collaborator who left his fingerprints all over Violator and its 12-inch versions. François was deeply involved in the album's final mixdown, famously spending an entire day in the studio with headphones on, obsessing over the tone of a single hi-hat. This remix isn't a detached reinterpretation, it's an alternate vision from someone who was already embedded in the very DNA of the song. Unlike some radically deconstructed remixes, the Hands and Feet mix maintains the emotional weight of Enjoy the Silence while infusing it with a spacier, harder, late-night club groove. It's meditative and restrained, yet designed for movement. The intro build-up is legendary, starting with hi-hats and subtle choir pads. Rhythmic elements are introduced, teasing anticipation. It's a full 90 seconds before that unmistakable bass line kicks in, and when it does, it's pure payoff. The remix's pacing is sublime. The contrast between the minimal percussive sections and the euphoric rush when the full melody re-enters is spine-tingling, especially around the 4-minute mark where orchestral flourishes buried in the original are brought to the surface, heightening the emotion. My favorite moment comes in the final breakdown when the iconic solo choir sound is introduced to usher in the track's closing stretch. Elegant, haunting, and triumphant. In 1993, Alan Wilder would take the sweeping drama of the Hands and Feet mix and merge it with the elements from Daniel Miller and Phil Legg's Ricky Tick Tick mix, crafting the definitive live arrangement of Enjoy the Silence, a version still beloved today. Some fans swear by the quad final mix or the ecstatic dub, and those are great in their own right, but for me, the Hands and Feet mix is the crown jewel, the perfect blend of club energy and emotional depth, and hands down my favorite Depeche Mode moment to experience on a dance floor.
Enjoy the silence.
Original 12-inch single. Box set reissue. So that's gonna do it for today. Obviously, there are many more incredible remixes that I enjoy, such as the Stripped Highland mix, Barrel of a Gun Underworld Soft mix, Behind the Wheel Beatmasters mix, etc. But these are the 15 that speak to me the most. If you enjoyed this video, kindly give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my upcoming Depeche Mode videos. I'm planning to talk about their catching up singles 81 to 85 period in November, and then there's a big anniversary with Black Celebration in March. Do you agree with my list? What are your favorite Depeche Mode remixes? Let me know down in the comments. Thanks for watching. You can see more of my videos right here. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys in the next one.